Hello, my name is John Bannon. I'm an attorney and philosopher. In today's video, I'm going to explain how superdeterminism destroys Karl Jaspers. This video is what they failed to teach you in college philosophy class about the philosophy of Karl Jaspers. When I talk about superdeterminism, I am referring to Hansonian superdeterminism. This is a different type of superdeterminism than the classic superdeterminism first posited by Dr. John Bell in 1985. Swedish theoretical physicist Dr. Johan Hansen proved his version of superdeterminism, and you can read his proof for yourself in the peer reviewed physics journal Physics Essays, volume 33, number 2, June of 2020. It appears on page 216 through 218 and is entitled Bell's Theorem and Its Tests Proof that Nature is Superdeterministic, Not Random. So, under Hansonian superdeterminism, we live in a predetermined static block universe without cause and effect in physics, or probabilistic causation, or physical causation. This is different than the classic form of superdeterminism, which uses hidden causal variables, because Hansonian superdeterminism denies the very existence of causation. So you can't have hidden causal variables. I've written 3 points on the board, and I'm going to discuss how each one of these points of Karl Jaspers' philosophy is disproven by superdeterminism. Number 3, we obtain our capacity for freedom through the transcendent reality of the universe. Karl Jaspers believed that our deepest convictions derive from our authentic selves. Um, so our capacity for freedom is derived from our deepest convictions, which is our authentic self, which is transcendent. But under superdeterminism, this capacity for freedom assumes an open future where we decide who we are. But under superdeterminism, the future is closed. It's predetermined. It's um, unchangeable because there's no cause and effect in physics. We live in this fourth dimensional block universe where the past, present, and future are equally real and presently existing. So everything that you're ever going to do in the future already exists in the block universe, and you can't change it. So the future is closed, not open. So because there is no open future in the block universe, then we cannot have this purported capacity for freedom, uh, so that our decisions with our deepest convictions come from our transcendent self. Number 2, our freedom is our necessity to remain true to our transcendent identity. So Karl Jaspers is saying that our capacity for freedom does not require the real possibility of doing otherwise, because doing otherwise would not be consistent with our transcendent identity. So Karl Jaspers is saying that when we decide with our deepest convictions, that this decision has to feel necessary to conform to our transcendent identity. So these decisions don't uh, feel free; rather, they feel necessary because our transcendent identity demands this particular choice. And that is what he describes as our capacity for freedom. So, this is a different understanding of freedom than the typical understanding of free will, which is the real possibility that you could have done otherwise. So, Karl Jaspers is saying um, true freedom is should feel necessary, not arbitrary or chaotic, because it has to align with your true transcendent identity. So this is sort of Karl Jasper's neat trick to try to get out of the feeling that your decision isn't truly free, but feels necessary based on our surroundings and the universe. But he explains that it's actually freedom because even though it feels necessary, it must align with your transcendent identity of self. So this is a clever argument, but of course it's completely false under superdeterminism. The reason is even our conscious decisions based on our deepest convictions are still aspects of the block universe and not transcendent. So, your decision on some life altering uh, circumstance based on your deepest convictions, nevertheless, that decision is a physical reality and an aspect of our static block universe. So it can't be transcendent. It cannot be an aspect of your transcendent identity because it's already an aspect of the static block universe. Under superdeterminism, Hansonian superdeterminism, conscious thoughts and decisions are physical realities in the block universe. And the reason for this is take, for example, if you consciously decide to move your arm. Now, because your arm is undeniably a physical reality, then under Hansonian superdeterminism, your future arm movement is already predetermined to occur and already exists in the future static dimension of time, which means that your conscious decision to move your arm must also be predetermined in order for your arm movement to be predetermined. But the only thing near our consciousness that is physical and that is capable of being predetermined are brain particles. So our brain particles are the predetermined aspect of the static block universe that predetermines our conscious decision to allow for predetermined future body movements. So consciousness has to be an aspect of the particles that exist in our static block universe, which means consciousness has to be a physical reality. That is, the particles and the way they're arranged through the static dimension of time in our static block universe. Consequently, our conscious decisions on whatever they are, whether they're deep decisions or very arbitrary decisions like what flavor of ice cream I'm going to choose, they are all nonetheless physical realities. And if they're physical realities in the block universe, they're not transcendent. All right, number one, meaning in life is resonance between your inner self and your outer actions. So Jasper's saying that real meaning in life is understanding understanding your capacity for freedom, which is understanding that your decisions derive from this transcendent identity of yourself and understanding that connection so that your actions reflect that deep transcendent identity that you have. That's where meaning comes from. But this cannot be true under Hansonian superdeterminism. And the reason is that under Hansonian superdeterminism, each of us has a block life, which means that in the static block universe, every moment of our life from birth to death still exists. It's unchangeable, it's permanent, even though your present moment of existence is at a particular location in the static dimension of time within your block life. The prior moments and the future moments, they're all there. Uh, in the block life, they're permanent, and every being that is alive has a block life. So when you ask the question, what's the universal meaning of life? It has to be something within the block life of everything that's alive because it can't possibly be anywhere else for that thing that is alive. It has to be within their block life. So when you look at, well, what do all block lives share in common? The only thing they share in common is that they're block lives. That's it. So the universal meaning of life is the predetermined role your block life plays in the predetermined plan of the universe and human history. So anything that is a potential cannot be a universal meaning of life because there are some block lives that don't have that potential in them, so it's meaningless to say to that person that your meaning in life is X, for instance, when X does not appear in their block life. So how could that be the meaning of their block life? It can't be. So any potential X cannot be a universal meaning of life under Hansonian superdeterminism. So when Karl Jaspers talks about meaning in life through understanding or awareness of your deepest convictions being derived from your transcendent self, that is a potential because not everybody would understand that or engage in that sort of thinking. So it's a potential. Therefore, it cannot be a universal meaning of life. So, number one is clearly wrong under Hansonian superdeterminism. All right, well, I hope you learned something, and I'll give you a second to look at the board. All right, until next time, take care.